All right, let's get right into it. Today we're diving into a topic that, I swear, pops up in comment sections all the time. It's a question that really gets to the core of some very old and very sticky ideas about relationships.
And there it is, straight up. How can we know if a girl is a virgin? This is the actual question that sparked this whole explainer. It's a question just loaded with assumptions, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
But before we even think about answering that, we have to take a step back and ask something way more important. Is this even the right question to be asking in the first place? The whole point here is to challenge the very foundation of that question. Okay, so let's dive in. We're going to start by tackling some of the most common and honestly just plain wrong ways people try to figure this out. It's kind of wild. The source we're looking at points out how often people jump to conclusions based on things that are totally superficial. I mean, look at this list. A woman's style, how many guy friends she has, or just having a bold personality. People make judgments based on this stuff all the time, but the reality, it has absolutely zero to do with her sexual history. These aren't facts, they're just social labels. Now this is where things get really interesting, because this whole idea is tangled up with a really old-school biological test. Let's get into the history behind the myth. So at the very center of this so-called test is the hymen. But look, science is super clear about this. It's just a thin membrane, and it can stretch or tear for tons of reasons that have nothing to do with sex. We're talking sports, exercise, gymnastics, riding a bike, any number of totally normal physical things. So yeah, it has never, ever been a reliable indicator of anything. And this is where a little history really puts things into perspective. Our source makes this fantastic contrast. Think about it. About 150 years ago, many women lived incredibly inactive lives, mostly at home. So the chances of the hymen tearing from something other than sex were pretty slim back then. Now, fast forward to today. Women are active. They run marathons, they play sports, they work physical jobs, they travel the world. So here's the bottom line. Judging a modern, active woman by a standard from a completely different, inactive era, it's just illogical. The entire reason for the test is completely fallen apart. And look, this isn't just some abstract debate. This stuff has real-world consequences. Our source puts it so bluntly it's perfect. You could lose out on a great life partner for this stupid reason. Hanging on to this myth could literally cause you to pass up someone who is an absolutely amazing partner for you. Okay, so let's talk about how all of this feeds into a pretty undeniable double standard. This really just comes down to a question of basic fairness, doesn't it? Let's just put it out there. Are men ever held to this same standard? And I think we all know the answer is a resounding no. This slide just lays it out so clearly. For women, there's often this societal expectation, and her past gets put under a microscope. But for men, it's often just accepted or even expected that he has a past, and it's rarely ever questioned. It's like we're playing the same game, but with two totally different sets of rules. So why? Why does this double standard even exist? Well, the source suggests it might be rooted in some pretty deep insecurities. Maybe a fear that a man's masculinity could be diminished, or just a simple fear of being compared to someone from her past. So if these old metrics are flawed, unfair, and totally out of date, what should we be focusing on? What actually makes for a good partner? This is what truly matters. Instead of obsessing over something that's basically a myth, the source argues we should look for the real stuff. Loyalty, character, compatibility, mutual respect, that deep mental and emotional connection. These are the actual building blocks of a healthy, lasting relationship. And in the end, it all comes down to a really basic truth about privacy, trust, and a person's autonomy. Our source wraps it up with this incredibly powerful statement. No one can tell you if a woman is a virgin. Only she can. It's her story, and it's hers alone to share, or not share. And that brings us to our final thought, which is really a question for you to take with you. If we toss out all these old, broken myths we've been talking about, what's left? What truly, for you, defines a lifelong partner? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.